There is a stage people rarely talk about when it comes to wealth. It's the stage before anything external has changed, but internally, something has already shifted. Most people miss it. Or worse, they misinterpret it. They assume that if results aren't visible yet, nothing is happening. But in reality, this is where the process actually begins. Because wealth is not created at the level of strategy first. It is created at the level of identity, standards, and decision-making. And before those translate into money, they show up as subtle but consistent changes in how you think and behave. There are a few clear signs that indicate you've entered this phase. The first is that your current life starts to feel misaligned. Not dramatically wrong, but increasingly uncomfortable. Things that used to feel normal no longer feel sustainable. You notice a gap between how you're living and how you know you could be living. This isn't dissatisfaction for the sake of it. It's increased awareness. And awareness creates pressure for change. Most people try to remove that discomfort by going back to what feels familiar. But if you stay with it, it becomes useful. It forces you to stop settling. The second sign is that you start taking responsibility in a different way. Not in a self-critical way, but in a clear, grounded way. You begin to see patterns instead of isolated problems. You recognize how your decisions, habits, and standards are shaping your results. This is where people stop waiting. They stop hoping things will improve on their own, and they start adjusting their inputs. This shift alone changes everything. Because once you see cause and effect clearly, you stop repeating the same cycles. The third sign is that you become willing to be perceived differently. This is a bigger shift than most people realize. For a long time, people optimize for approval. They adjust their behavior to stay consistent with how others see them. But at some point, that becomes limiting. If your current identity is tied to a certain level of income, lifestyle, or behavior, staying the same keeps you in the same results. So you begin to change how you show up. You speak more directly. You make different decisions. You stop over-explaining yourself. And not everyone responds positively to that. But you're no longer making decisions based on being understood. You're making decisions based on where you're going. The fourth sign is that your standards increase, quietly but consistently. You stop tolerating things you used to accept, low-quality environments, unproductive habits, situations that drain your time and energy. You start choosing better options, even when they require more effort or discomfort in the short term. This is one of the most practical indicators of change, because standards determine outcomes, not intentions, not motivation, standards. What you accept, what you allow, and what you repeat on a daily basis. The fifth sign is that you feel a clear pull toward more, even without evidence. This is often dismissed, but it's one of the most important signals. You don't need constant external validation to know you're capable of more. You don't need everything to be proven in advance. You start trusting your direction before your results catch up. This isn't irrational. It's pattern recognition at a higher level. You can see where your current trajectory leads, and you can also see where a different set of decisions would take you. So you begin to move in that direction, even if it's not fully visible yet. When all of these signs are present, what's happening is simple. You are no longer operating from a scarcity-based identity. You are transitioning into a wealth-based one, and that transition always happens before the external results. If you understand this stage, you stop doubting the process. You stop looking for immediate proof, and you focus on reinforcing the behaviors and standards that produce long-term outcomes. Because at that point, wealth is no longer a question of if. It becomes a question of how long you're willing to stay consistent with the version of yourself that creates it.